can you find my son? It'd mean the world.
I miss my brother. You just don't know where to turn.
In the last year, over 4,000 people from across the UK have contacted the long-lost family team,
Do you know what her full name would be?
asking us to find their missing family.
I tried to write so many times to my brother. There's this one, this one, this one.
How could a mum give up their child?
It's been like an obsession. For 20 years, it's been an obsession.
Using trained intermediaries, DNA experts, and investigators all over the world, we find people that nobody else could trace.
You've got 5 other siblings.
5?
We uncover incredible family secrets
Don't tell me she was there.
She was.
And answer questions that have haunted entire lives.
I knew there was going to be twists and turns. I said it.
This week, a special episode of Long Lost Family.
Hello, can I just give you a poster about my missing son?
For the first time, we feature stories of people reported missing to the police, whose families are left behind.
You know, he's our son. We love him very much. We want it back.
This is my brother we're talking about, who I miss terribly. I'm desperate to find him.
And we help a woman looking for answers as to why her mother disappeared.
My mum left me with her sister and she never came back. And that's the last we ever heard of her.
On Long Lost Family, we try and help as many people as possible find their relatives. Although there are some cases that we are just unable to solve. Those are people reported missing to the police. And in these cases, the only way that we can help is by appealing to you for information. Our first appeal is on behalf of the family of Matthew Bone, who disappeared in March 2018.
It's important that we keep Matt's room nice. You never know when he might come home. We've got birthday presents and cards that are sitting there waiting for him. It's kind of what you do as a mum, isn't it?
If you said a year ago to me, you're going to be sitting here in front of a camera talking about your lost son today. Oh. There isn't a moment in a day when I don't think about him.
Matt grew up in Portsmouth with his parents Mike and Karen and his little sister Katie.
Me and Matt had a great childhood. I think we were very lucky.
Me and Matt were always doing something together, off being naughty or, I don't know, being mischievous. And yeah, he's like my best friend. He understands me and I understand him, if you know what I mean.
It's a bit like the Milky Bar Kid in this, isn't it?
He's got a lovely smile, hasn't he?
Yeah. Kids, they just seem so happy, don't they? You know, they've
Yeah.
got a care in the world.
Of course, yeah.
We were a close family. We enjoyed spending time together. Oh, there he is with the curly hair, yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. Yes, he just flashed by and that was it.
Yeah.
He brought a lot of happiness into our family. I couldn't wish for a better son. I think kids grow up, don't they?
As a teenager, Matt was outgoing, sociable, and excelled academically.
He was very passionate about environmental sciences. He did his first degree and he went on to do his PhD.
At the age of 26, Matt moved back home from university to write up his thesis.
He was struggling with getting through some of that work. We explained to him that if he didn't want to continue, that was fine. We would support him in whatever he wanted to do. But I think with his strong-willed nature, he was determined he was going to get through it somehow.
Then, on the 4th of March 2018, the family's life changed forever.
The day Matt disappeared from our house, it was a Sunday.
It was my mum's birthday. We were anticipating a happy family meal that day, but it never happened.
Karen and myself, we were in the lounge. Matt came downstairs. You could hear him coming downstairs, went into the drawer, got a key, and nipped out the front door. I just quickly looked out the window, and he was just walking up the road. He didn't have a coat, he had a jumper, and he had a little rucksack with not much on the back of him. We just thought, right, he's going for a walk up on top of the hill, and he'll be back later on. As time went on throughout the day, Matt didn't come back.
There was something inside of me, I guess you call it sort of a mother's instinct. Something wasn't right. So it was at that point that I'd called the police and reported him as a missing person.
In the following days, there were several sightings of Matt. First locally, but then within a week, he'd travelled 140 miles north from Portsmouth. He was last seen in the village of Callow End in Worcestershire.
We don't know why he went there, because there were no connections with the Worcestershire area at all, as far as we knew.
I'm just going to drop off and see if I can drop off a leaflet.
Okay, we'll carry on.
Hello.
Hello.
I wondered if you'd mind displaying this poster in your window.
No problem at all.
That would be wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
From time to time, we visit the area where we went missing from to make sure that the people don't forget and trying to jog people's memories, because he could well be out there somewhere.
Hello, can I just give you a poster about my missing son?
All right, I hope you find him.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, hi. Would you mind showing this poster? It's my brother. You went missing from this area about a year ago. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
The family have been here many times before, but this visit is especially poignant because it's a year to the day since Matt was last seen here.
I never thought that it would be a whole year, and we still have no information, and yeah, just don't know anything else. Sorry. It's just sad seeing that.
With no evidence to suggest he's died, and few clues as to what happened, the family are left with many unanswered questions.
Did he want to disappear? Has he taken time out? Has he been kidnapped? Has he been coerced away? Does he want a bit of space before he continues his next chapter of his life? We want to know what's happened.
Missing people searches across the UK are handled by the police. In Matt's case, the investigation is being conducted by the West Mercia Force in Worcestershire, where he was last seen.
Hello, Nicky. Dave Knight, welcome to West Mercia, please. Should we go through?
Thank you very much.
I've come to meet Detective Inspector Dave Knight, who is leading the investigation.
Take a seat, Nicky.
Thanks. Well, thanks for seeing me. So tell me more about this investigation.
And what we know now is that on the 4th of March 2018, he's left home. He went missing for 2 days before he then presents at the Alexandra Hospital in Portsmouth, suffering from dehydration. He was treated and actually mentally and physically, Matt was deemed to be okay.
So what does all that indicate?
It indicates a man who's willing to seek help for himself. He's then left there and gone missing for a number of days and ended up in Callow End in the morning of Friday the 9th of March, where he's booked into quite a top-notch hotel for the night.
So why did he find his way from Portsmouth to Callow End?
I'm not able to answer that at the moment, all the inquiries that I've done.
So what about his arrival at the hotel? Was there any CCTV?
Yes. This is Matt shortly after he arrived at the hotel and walking up to his room. Now that's Matt in the lift going up to his room. That's a reflection, so he's looking into the mirror. We know through the card access that he only went into his room once. About 5 hours later, about 7 o'clock in the evening, Matt is in those clothes, travelling south on foot in pretty awful weather. And we have searched vast areas of land, and I would say I'm about 95% sure that Matt isn't there, but Matt was a walker. He was able to travel great distances on foot.
Is it possible he's still alive?
Yeah, there's every possibility that Matt's still alive. There has not been any indication whatsoever that Matt is intent on taking his own life.
If he is still alive, what could he be doing?
One of the theories I've got around Matt is that he has got the intellectual ability to be able to live out of touch with the authorities because he's such a clever individual. He could be living under the radar. He could be funding himself through cash-in-hand work. He could still be local and just keeping a very low profile.
The investigation goes on.
Yeah, and I'll keep going until I find out what has happened to Matt.
If you know anything that could help the investigation, please call or text the Missing People helpline, which will be shown later. Before we continue our appeal, our next story is of a woman whose mother went missing over 60 years ago.
From as far back as I can remember, it was just a complete mystery. I was 3 years old. My mum left me with her sister and she never came back. And that's the last we ever heard of her.
You can crack the eggs. Right, now you have a mixer there.
68-year-old Beryl Everall lives close to her 2 grandsons, Harvey and Owen.
This is going to be the best cake ever.
I just love them to bits, them 2 boys. They're like the family I never had.
The best cake maker.
But despite her happy family life, Beryl's mother went missing when Beryl was 3 years old.
I'd been living with my mum up until the day she left me with her sister. She left me there, then she went, and she says, I'll call back later to collect her, and she never came back.
With her mum gone, Beryl was brought up by her dad and her aunts, and her mum was never spoken about again.
It was like she'd never existed. The kids at school used to say, you haven't got a mum, have you? You know, so I knew I was different. But I always said when I was older, I was going to find my mum.
At the age of 8, Beryl plucked up the courage to ask an aunt about her mum.
My aunt said she'd always believed my mum went off with the American soldier.
Although it was a mystery to all of Beryl's family as to where her mother had gone, there was one person her aunt said might have the answers: her mother's father.
She said that my grandfather was the only link to her. I thought, well, he could tell me where my mum went.
Beryl and her aunt travelled to a pub in Malvern, where they'd heard he worked.
I remember walking in to the pub. My aunt went to the bar to ask for my granddad. But when she started to walk back out the bar, I just knew that there was something not quite right. She said, Beryl, your granddad is dead. And that was it.
With the death of her grandfather, Beryl's hope of finding out what had happened to her mother disappeared.
I can't remember my mum at all. There's just nothing. Is she ever going to come back and say, I'm your mother? It eats away at you. You know, it's always there in the back of your mind. Why?
When we took on this search, all we had was Beryl's mother's name, Miriam Grubb. Now, in this situation, we'd usually begin by establishing whether Miriam was still alive, but someone got there first.
Beryl Everall had been wanting to find her mother ever since she was a little girl.
It's like she's never existed in my life at all. No memories, no photos, nothing.
But just before we took up Beryl's search, amazingly, she was contacted out of the blue by a distant relative with information about her mother.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Beryl. How are you?
I'm fine.
Sam Bradley spent years researching the family history. She told Beryl that sadly her mother Miriam died in 2000. But Sam also uncovered some other big news. And today, she's come to share the evidence with Beryl.
This is your sister's birth certificate. Yvonne Christine
She'd have been 3 years younger than you.
Sam has discovered that Miriam went on to have another daughter called Yvonne. This is Beryl's younger sister.
And 68 years of age, and to find out this, it's just unbelievable. I know I'm not going to find my mum now, because she's dead and gone. But Yvonne is a link with her. I think she would be the only person who knows what really, really happened and why she did leave me.
We took on the search for Yvonne from here. The death certificate for Beryl's mother Miriam listed her name not as Grubb, but with a married name, Stokes. So it didn't seem unreasonable to think that if Yvonne had stayed with her mother, her surname would also be Stokes.
Our intuition seemed right. There was a marriage record for an Yvonne C. Stokes to a John Lewis, and it was in the same area that Miriam's death had been registered, Newport, near Cardiff.
We got in touch with Yvonne, and she confirmed she was the woman that we were looking for.
For Beryl, discovering only recently that her mother went on to have another daughter, Yvonne, has given her new hope that the question she has about her life may finally be answered.
But Yvonne has some news that Beryl doesn't know yet. Yvonne is not Beryl's only other sibling. Their mother Miriam also had 4 sons. One passed away many years ago as a young child, and another chose not to be filmed. But I'm on my way to meet Yvonne and her brothers, David and Richard.
Yvonne.
Hello.
Nicky.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. And,
okay. I'm David.
David?
Yvonne's brother.
Okay.
And I'm Richard. I'm Yvonne's brother as well.
Okay. This is going to be quite a surprise for
Yeah.
Beryl. So, did you know about Beryl?
No.
No. Nothing
Never
at all.
had an inkling at all. Overwhelmed.
Knowing my mother as I know my mother, I find it hard to believe.
Do you have a photo of your mum?
Yes. That's me and my mother.
She looks happy.
Yes, I think she was.
She looked after us, and you couldn't wish for a better mother. We had everything.
That's why we find it hard to understand how she was with us, and yet she had a daughter we never knew anything about. We didn't really have secrets from each other. Well, we obviously did, but at the time we never seen us having secrets from each other.
There's a question that I longing to ask, is why my mother left her daughter. There must be a reason why. You know?
I think that's for all of us, really.
Yeah.
This is the thing for Beryl, needing to know, wanting to know what happened. One day her mother said, I want your aunt to look after you and I'll be back.
Oh my God.
And she never returned. Beryl was 3 years old.
3? My dear. I cannot believe that my mother would do that. Basically, for whatever reason. I mean, we've all got our own families now. I could never do that, and I know David and I wouldn't be able to do it.
It doesn't bear thinking about. She's grown up all these years without a mother.
She's missed out on all the good things that we've had.
One of the things she had heard is that her mother may well have run off with a soldier.
Dad was in the army, yeah.
Dad was in the army, yeah, that's where they met. A bigger picture is starting to come now. Obviously, she must run off, and she's obviously run off with her father.
Can you think back at any points that were perhaps points of upset or sadness or regret or her hiding something?
It's more difficult, really, because we lost a brother.
Yeah.
So if there was any sadness, in our heads, we'd put it down to that.
To all that.
That was so many years ago.
Are you glad that Beryl has found you?
Yes.
I think so. I think it's good.
We can't change whatever happened.
No.
You can move on together.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
This is from Beryl to you, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know that she had other people to write to.
Dear Yvonne, for many years now I have longed to find our mother, Miriam, but without success. But during my search, I discovered a younger sister, which I had no knowledge of. I would love for us to meet up, to make up for all the years we have been apart. And I do hope you had a happy life. It was a lovely letter. You wait till she finds out you've got you three as well.
Yeah, she is no shock of her life.
Here's your sister.
It's unbelievable. 65 years of age, finding out you've got a sister, you know, when you've always wanted a sister. I used to pray for a sister when I was a little one. Yeah, yeah.
That's my sister. That's my mother's daughter. All you can do is feel for her, really.
It's a shame she won't meet her mother.
But we'd like to see her.
Yeah.
We'd like to meet her.
And she's still part of the family, isn't she?
Yeah.
It's part of the family.
Yeah.
Before we tell Beryl the news that we've found Yvonne and her brothers, we return to the stories of those who remain missing. Our next appeal is on behalf of Rachel Pickthall, who's been searching for her brother Simon for over 5 years.
Excuse me. Hi. I wonder if I could give you this poster. This says my brother who went missing.
I don't want to live my life not knowing where Simon is. This is my brother we're talking about. This is someone I dearly, dearly love. It's just absolutely heartbreaking.
Look at his little curl on top of his head. He looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't he?
Rachel's brother, Simon Greaves, grew up one of 4 children in Yorkshire.
As a child, he had the most beautiful face with the freckles and the red hair and this gorgeous smile.
I love him in this.
And,
Look at his beautiful face.
little chubby legs. Everybody wanted to hold him. He was a very kind boy. Yes. Yes, he was. Bless him.
There was always so much excitement with Simon. You never knew what he was going to do next.
Oh, I love this one.
He was a bit different to everybody else.
He was a great note writer, wasn't he?
He left me a little note over there that says, I love you, Mum. And I look at it every morning.
Oh, that's lovely. He had a great style of writing as well.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, very artistic, as he was.
Simon went to art college and then settled in London, where he shared a flat with Rachel.
We just had the best time. He used to look after me, he used to really care for me whilst leading this exciting, arty, creative life.
By the time Simon was 33, he had married his long-term girlfriend and had a baby girl.
He was absolutely besotted with his daughter. He absolutely adored her. He was very, very proud of her. Like a lot of doting fathers believed, she was the best at everything.
But sadly, this happy life wasn't to last.
He had some personal issues. His relationship with his wife broke down. He'd been diagnosed with bipolar. Mentally, he was in quite a difficult place.
Then, on the 23rd of December 2013, the police got in touch with Simon's family.
I was at work, sitting at my desk, and got a phone call from my sister Kate. And she said, Rachel, don't panic, but I've got to let you know that Simon's vehicle's been found abandoned at Benton Cliffs.
There's the sign. Kate. Here it is, Mum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today, Simon's mum, Gail, Rachel and another of his sisters, Kate, are travelling to the place where his camper van was found abandoned.
I wonder what was going through Simon's head. Was he having a day out?
Was he planning on staying overnight? Simon had gone missing a couple of times before, and because of his character, his personality, which was quite unpredictable, we got used to that. And we just said that's the way Simon is, that's how he likes to operate.
Simon was a keen bird watcher and loved coming here to look at the seabirds.
So this is all RSPB, is it? This is all the reserve?
This is all reserve.
But the family have to confront another possibility.
If somebody has taken their own life here, in 99% of cases there's evidence, there's proof, and there's nothing for Simon. We have no shred of evidence to say that he's done that. The mountain rescue were out, and the dogs and helicopters, and a really, really thorough search was done, and nothing was found.
With no body found and no suggestion that Simon intended to take his own life, the police investigation continues.
It's torture not knowing where he is. I think the reason that he came here was for the bird watching. We have to hope that he's going to come back, and the police told us Simon's case would remain open.
I hope he just needs time out.
Yeah.
And you've just got to believe the positive, haven't you?
Simon is one of 180,000 people reported missing in the UK every year.
So what are the reasons that lead to people going missing? And what hope do families like Simon's have of ever seeing their loved one again?
To find out, I'm meeting Chief Executive of Missing People, Joe Ewell.
Hi, it's Nicky Campbell here to see Joe.
The charity has been supporting families like Rachel's for over 25 years.
Hi there. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come on in.
Well, thanks for your time this afternoon. So in a situation like Rachel's and her family, Simon has been missing for more than 5 years. How common is it that after a few years somebody is found?
Something like over 95% of adults who go missing are found in that first week. I think the worrying thing is that the longer somebody is missing for, the chances of finding them start to reduce, but there's always hope. We've supported a family and their son went missing for 6 years, and then one day they got a call and he was found. He was struggling, he'd had something of a breakdown before he went, but you know, they're back together, and that gives hope, I think, to other families that are in this situation, that people are found after years of being missing.
So why do people go missing?
It's thought that something like 8 out of 10 adults are having some kind of mental health crisis at that point in time. And we know that sadly 1 in 20 adults who go missing are actively considering ending their own lives at that point. But there are other reasons as well, because of financial pressures, because of problems within a relationship, people that are fleeing, say, a situation where there's domestic violence. And we know that often people that are missing are worried. They're worried about their family being angry, that they've walked away. They're worried about the upset that they might have caused. And perhaps that might cloud their thinking about whether their family really do want to hear from them.
So what can our viewers do to help?
We find people because members of the public see an appeal and go, do you know what, that might be the person. Maybe they've seen them on their local high street, maybe they know something that they could share. We'll make sure that information gets through to the police to help find them.
If you know anything about Simon, please call or text the Missing People helpline, which will be shown at the end of the programme. Beryl Everall always wondered why her mother disappeared when she was a child. Having found out that her mother Miriam died in 2000, Beryl recently discovered that she has a younger sister Yvonne and asked us to search for her. Beryl had hoped that finding her sister Yvonne might solve the mystery surrounding her mother. But sadly, Yvonne and her brothers are also in the dark about Miriam's early life. I just hope that knowing that her siblings want to meet her and tell her all about their mother might ease the fact that she'll never know the full story.
You've still got that doubt at the back of your mind if things are going to be what you hope they're going to be. It's took nearly 68 years, so I hope it's going to be an happy ending this time.
I'm Beryl.
Oh, how you doing?
Fine. Come on in.
Good, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Take a seat.
Oh, thank you. I was quite struck by your childhood because this idea of being left by your mother at 3.
I don't feel angry about it or anything like that. I just think, well, that's how my childhood was. And it was something I just had to live with.
You were left with some really burning questions about your mum.
Oh, God, always wondering where she was, what she was doing. It's the not knowing what really gets to you in the end, the not knowing.
So this sister is the key.
Well, I'm hoping that she stayed with our mother and she can fill in the gaps what I've been trying to find for 60-odd years, maybe.
Beryl, we found her.
Does she know all about my mum?
She knows all about your mum. She lived with your mum.
Oh. I'm so glad she stayed with her. I really, really am. Because in finding Yvonne, I know I found my mum as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really, really chuffed about that. That's the best news I could ever have. I just can't believe it. And is she happy?
She's really happy. She also has some siblings, brothers.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I've got a picture of all of them. This is your sister and 2 of your brothers.
Oh, my God. And I can't believe it.
That one's Richard and that one's David.
Did they know about me?
They didn't. None of them did.
Never knew I existed.
No. And they're quite surprised because your mum was a very good mum and she just wasn't somebody who could have left a daughter at 3 years old. But we'll never know why your mum left you.
So I should just let it go and think, well, at least I've got these and they can tell me all about her.
This is your mother.
Oh, my God, I'm like her. I'm the spit of her. Oh, I just can't believe it. I really, really can't. That's the first one I've ever seen. Yeah. She was a damn good secret keeper.
She was.
It's now closed the book.
Has it?
Yeah. Yeah. But now it's gone from me just being alone now to having some family.
Today, Beryl's going to meet her siblings for the first time.
This is the day that I've waited for 60-odd years. I've been on my own for so long, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, comes a whole new family.
I just wish we'd found one another years ago. She's missed out on growing up with her mum, and hopefully I can give her an insight into what my mum was like, our mum was like.
Here she comes.
All right, you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you all right?
Here's the Queen, you okay?
Fine.
How you
fine.
feeling, all right?
Nervous?
Yeah?
Nervous.
Let's go. You'll be all right. You'll be fine.
The siblings are going to meet at the cottage in Malvern, where Beryl lived with her mother for the first 3 years of her life.
It's really important to me because it's a place where we could have been together if things had been different.
Hi, Beryl. Hi, Davina.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Lovely to see you.
And you?
So you ready?
I am.
Okay, let's go. So how are you feeling? Are you nervous?
A bit. It feels really strange. I just can't believe that they're going to be there.
Now,
Thank you.
welcome.
Hey, Nicky, all right?
How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
How are you doing? Yeah.
The siblings know very little of their mother's early life and have never been inside this house where she lived with Beryl.
This is a special place, right?
I can remember stopping outside here once.
Can you?
I remember my father saying to my mum, "Are you going to go in?" And she said no. And we just drove off. And it's only come back now. Never ever thought to be back here again.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just feeling all the hairs at the back of my neck sticking up.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, thank you.
All the best.
You.
Cheers, Nick.
All the best.
Thank you.
Their mum, she's been a lot in my thoughts today. I'm hoping that she'd be happy that finally the secret's out. We found each other.
Good luck, Beryl. Thank you. Your siblings are in there.
How are you, Beryl?
Oh,
Right.
lovely to see you.
And you too, Sam.
Sister, I never...
Don't cry. It's nappy time.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see you.
You okay?
Yeah.
Good. You okay?
Yeah.
Good.
I've had so many hugs today.
Good.
So how do you feel?
Just turned everything upside down, really, like, you know, to realise that you've got a sister out there, like, you know.
Yeah.
Especially Yvonne, when she's always wanted a sister.
Yeah. We got one now. all my life, all I've ever wanted was my mum. I wonder what she'd make of all this.
I wish your mum never had the secret. Wish she could have told us, you know?
But I found you instead, so that is good. Yeah.
Wow.
They've all found each other anyway.
Yeah. The warmth of them all. I already feel as I've known them for ages. The connection is just unreal. Really is. I feel so comfortable talking to them.
It's just been amazing, really.
Just flew by. Just talking and...
And the way she talks. That's my mother.
Because you can see her mum in that, see?
It's meant so much.
Got your sister, love. Got your
Yes.
sister at the end of the day.
Now, I do feel closer to our mother. And this brought the sister and the brothers into my life.
In this episode of Long Lost Family, we've been focusing on the stories of people reported missing to the police. It's just over a year since Matthew Bone disappeared from his family home. And with no new leads in the investigation, I'm visiting his family to see how they're coping.
Hi. Hello. Lovely to meet you.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Mike.
Nice to meet you.
And
Yes,
you.
please come
Thank
through.
you. Thanks very much. It's lovely to meet you, Katie.
And you.
Thank you so much for seeing me today. I just hope this appeal will bring you some information. What are the day-to-day things that you struggle with?
You kind of wake up in the morning, you think about Matt, you go to bed in the evening and you think about Matt, and you're just conscious that, you know, there's one of your loved ones is not there.
Yeah, I think I miss his presence.
Yes. But we kind of get through it, I guess, as a family. We support each other. Just talking about Matt, remembering good times and things, and...
We don't want to forget about him, do we?
No,
We don't want to just put it in the
No,
back of your mind.
no,
You want to
no.
keep those good thoughts
Yes.
in the forefront.
Katie, how's that been for you?
It's very lonely. And Matt's such a vibrant person that it's It's so obvious that he's missing.
Yes.
It's almost if you're living on the edge, though, you're always a bit tense that you're going to hear some news, either good or bad.
And you're always looking as well when you're out.
Because I work at university, they're all young people, very similar age group of what Matt was, and I see him every day. That's hard.
They call it kind of ambiguous loss. There's sort of a absence and a presence, but, you know, you can't, decide between the two, really, because there's no answer.
If he is watching, what do you want to say?
We love him and miss him. We just would like to see him back, or just to understand that he's safe.
Come back, we want him back. But we never, ever...
It's okay.
Yeah, we never, ever stopped thinking about that.
No. We won't ever give up on him, will we?
Like Matt's family, Rachel shares the feeling of hope that one day her brother Simon will come back into her life.
With no answers, it's torture for all of us. But I'll never ever give up hope because I've got no alternative.
The best way of maintaining hope of a missing person being found is by keeping their face in the public eye. The Missing People charity has teamed up with artists to paint the portraits of those who have disappeared, including Matt and Simon.
His sister chose the image because it kind of highlighted his personality.
Today, the images are being shown at the Truman Gallery in London as part of the Unmissables exhibition.
Every year in the UK, 180,000 people go missing, and of those, 1,800 of them will still be missing after a year. It's 1,800 families wanting to know where their loved one is and if they're okay. We hope that people take interest in the stories of the faces who are depicted in these portraits, and ultimately we hope that someone will be reunited with their loved one as a result of this exhibition.
Oh my God, oh my God. There he is in the corner. Oh my God. Wow.
It is amazing.
His colours are so Simon.
It's wonderful, but I don't want Simon in a picture. I want him here.
Matthew Bone's family are also here to see his portrait.
Very good, isn't it? Looking at him, I just feel that he's there. That's him.
On opening night, the gallery is full of families who hope this exhibition will raise the profile of their loved ones.
That is my wife, Fatima Mohammed Ali. She's been missing since 2016, 12th of February, and I do dearly miss her.
Since 2003, my brother Tom has been missing. I have every belief that he's still with us on this earth, and I really want to find him. I really miss him.
If you have any information about the missing people featured on the programme tonight, call the Missing People helpline on 11 6000. And please, take a moment to remember these faces.